Awesome. So Bilal Malas here with Elliot Sinukov. So Elliot's a president at LifeCorp Financial and senior investment advisor at IA Private Wealth. And this is actually an updated introduction to a other interview we recorded. But right after the interview, Elliot actually closed a pretty hefty deal using our SLS framework mastermind. So $100,000 in annual life insurance premium. And that's what we want to talk about, just a updated introduction. So we're at a total of $123,000 in life insurance premiums until now, since joining the SLS Framework Mastermind. And so Elliot, thanks for joining me. And I mean, how did that deal go about? All the way from the moment you joined our SLS Framework Mastermind, so finding your ideal clients on LinkedIn, all the way to a closed deal. Can you tell us about that journey?
Yeah, with this one particular client, actually, I read his profile in detail, and he mentioned a couple of things that I brought up in our first meeting because he was a second generation business owner, and generally speaking, they're not that the percentage of success is not that high in second generation. So I was talking about that and the fact that he specializes in a niche, and so did I. We kind of hit it off. It took a while to have the meeting. We wanted to do it face to face, and COVID and restaurant closures, things like that delayed it. Plus, then he got busy for a while, so it took probably a good month after our discovery call before we actually were able to sit and meet. But then it went really well. We hit it off. He's a great guy. I was able to help him, so it worked out perfect.
What do you think was the turning point, throughout that sales process that made him feel comfortable reaching out to you and telling you more about his business?
Well, a couple things, because I did a bit of homework on him. So when I spoke to him, I knew a little bit about what he was up to. I sent him a book before we met on exit planning, because he was talking about growing his business and selling it. I thought he might find it interesting. He appreciated that, and it kind of made me stand out because nobody else did. And then we just met and went from there.
That's awesome. So you connected on LinkedIn. You had a discovery call was it over Zoom?
No, we had a discovery call on the phone, and I had the initial contact on the phone. Then I did a detailed fact finding over the phone. And I asked him if he'd prefer to meet by Zoom or in person. And he said in person, which we did. We just sort of had to wait until we could. Met him at a restaurant, had a beer with him, just sort of got caught up on a situation and showed him, a number of different recommendations. And he liked everything I showed him.
Amen. I know, Elliot, how much you value helping people, and especially with the processes that you have in your practice. So I thank you for that quick update, and on to the rest of the interview, in which in that other interview, we mentioned the rest of the $23,000 in premium you mentioned, but that's just the other half of $100,000 in premium you closed. So thank you for that case study, Elliot. It's really impressive. I'm sure it's going to inspire a lot of other life insurance advisors.
Okay, great. Glad I could help.
All righty. So I'm with Elliot Sinukov. Elliot, thank you for joining me today. And so Elliot is the president at LifeCorp Financial Partners and a senior investment advisor at IA Private Wealth. And so Elliot, I'm super happy to have you on. I know you closed $23,000 in life insurance premiums, or in commission selling life insurance, after you joined our SLS Framework Mastermind. And I want to dive deeper today into your journey through the SLS Framework Mastermind. And Elliot, I'm just going to pass the ball here to you. I want you to please introduce yourself. So who are you? Where are you from? And what is it exactly that you do?
My name's Elliot. I'm in Toronto. Investment advisor. I do high-end planning for clients.
Awesome, Elliot. Well, I know when we initially spoke a couple months ago, I think it's over 6 months ago, before you joined us, you had one issue, and the way you put it was, throughout your career, you've been able to help a lot of your clients through, your life insurance policies, and I wanted, and then what you said is, I'm relying on referrals. I don't necessarily have a sales process at the moment, and my book of business, they're aging, right? So they're aging. They're going to pass eventually. Like we all, face death eventually, obviously. And so you wanted to plan for the next decade. You wanted to have a change in your clientele in your book of business, and you had no way of generating virtual appointments. I remember even when you were setting up the green screen, you were asking about the nice camera equipment. I mean, right now, honestly, I'm sure people are watching. You look pretty professional at the moment, so a lot of progress there. But before joining our SLS Framework Mastermind, Elliot, how were you basically trying to transition into that virtual world and getting, perhaps a younger base of, book of business and that new clientele?
I wasn't. I was trying to figure out what to do, and then COVID hit and everything just stopped dead. You couldn't see clients. It was very difficult. The referrals dried up, and I had to learn how to operate on a more virtual basis. Um, and that's why I reached out to you guys. I did some work. I looked at a lot of different firms offering similar type things, or what I thought were similar. Decided to go with you guys and never turned back since.
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember the days where we were setting up, that virtual, setup that you have right now. And more importantly, um, you know, what I really like about your journey is, not only were we able to set up that virtual aspect to doing business, but, quickly you were able to start generating appointments with qualified prospects. You were able to find, who is your ideal client. And, if you can just share with us, who are you currently going after? Who would you consider right now your ideal clients? Who are you servicing?
Well, my niche is in the construction business, and it would be the owners or partners of the companies.
Mm, excellent, awesome. And since you joined us, you right now you're consistently generating like month to month 20 to 30 appointments with qualified prospects. Just last week, you said you booked 6 new appointments, and a lot of them are going to second, if not third appointments. And you've closed $23,000 in life insurance premiums, and you made 100% of that into commissions. And I want to talk about how your practice has changed after joining. And since you were relying on referrals, now, you're literally, what you just told me is you're having a couple of patio meetings in person. I would thank the Lord,
Yes.
we're getting that vaccine. I know, we have some interviews recorded a while back, but now, the interviews are a bit in the future. So we got the vaccine, we got all of that good stuff, changing. But how has your practice changed since joining the SLS Framework Mastermind in terms of like getting in front of, like cold prospects and, bringing them down to a close? How has that journey been, and how has that changed your perspective of, the future of your career?
It's been a bit of a learning curve. Before, I didn't really have a target niche, which I do now, and I find that helps. Yeah, the whole learning process was a bit difficult for me, but I struggled through it and got on it. And even the whole process of doing the appointments virtually, from the first meeting to the second meeting, it's a learning curve, and you keep adjusting what you're doing. And I started getting a lot more prepared than I was. So now they're kind of second nature. The two insurance deals that I closed, I did it completely virtually. Did the applications online, all the signatures were online. So it's a beautiful thing because you could really work from anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
which I like. The patio meetings, I'm looking forward to, just to get out of the house again and try to be somewhat normal. So I'm looking forward to those two.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, what I like about your journey is, how you hopped on a lot of our live coaching Q&A calls, and we were able to walk you through, any questions you had. And, can you tell us a bit more about that specifically? I know you're not, the most technically savvy person. Um, and but honestly, I was more than surprised with how efficient you were with implementing all the feedback we gave you when you hopped on those Q&A calls. And, our coaching calls. And I just wanted to hear a bit more of your thoughts of the support you were given throughout your journey.
The support was fantastic, and you've been great, Bilal, honestly. And you're a very likable guy. So the journey's been great, and I like the fact that you guys constantly update the system as what works and what doesn't work changes in social media. You guys are on top of it, keep us up to date, which is great. Because you could have just taken my money, gave me the course, and walked. But you've been very helpful, and I appreciate it. And I know that you've spent some one-on-one time with me when you've had a chance, and I very much appreciate that.
And thank you for sharing, Elliot. Appreciate you back as well. Honestly, always a pleasure to work with students who just implement, right? We're all about implementing and changing our lives for the better, so that we're not only you're able to benefit from it personally, but your clients and your prospects are able to benefit from it. And so my other question would be, like, what is the one win throughout your journey through the SLS framework mastermind that really stands out to you, right? Like maybe one moment, or perhaps your first closed deal or your first meeting, virtual meeting. What is that one win where you were like, okay, wow, I mean, this is doable, it's possible, and all the things I've heard, they're real. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, I think the first deal that I wrote completely virtually online was an eye opener, because I'm old school, and it's always been face to face, and I was able to do it, and it was simple. It was very easy. So
Mm-hmm. What would you say to other, insurance, investment advisors, or, specifically life insurance advisors who, are on the edge of joining the SLS Framework Mastermind, and more importantly, who are, questioning the market for life insurance prospects on LinkedIn?
yeah, I don't know, because there's all different markets, and I'm going after a very high end market, which means it's a much longer selling curve. I have to talk to their accountants. I work on a team, so I've had a number of group meetings, sometimes with their accountants and the owners. The business is out there, and it's just a numbers game like anything else. What I like about it the most is you don't get the rejection. You're not picking up a telephone and calling 100 people, getting through to 3 or 4 of them, and having them say no and hang up on you. I wake up in the morning. I have this morning I woke up, I had 12 LinkedIn messages, people responding back to the automated messages. Sometimes I wake up, I have appointments booked on my calendar. I don't even know who they are. And it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Well, it's what I like about your story, Elliot, is I'm telling you, there's a lot of advisors out there who, envy the position that you're in. And the fact that I got the opportunity to share your story, I feel like will inspire a lot of advisors to know that, yes, there is a way to do it virtually, especially like, seeing that, you're not as tech savvy, you're old school. As you said, you've been in the industry for quite a while. It's inspiring. So I just want to thank you for hopping on, Elliot. And yeah, do you have any final words?
Nope, but I am planning my first webinar on LinkedIn. I think I have 2,700 contacts now. And I did reach out to one of the mutual fund companies I deal with. They have a lot of social media people there that will help you. So she walked me through the whole process of how to do a webinar, and I'm just planning that over the next couple of months. So I really hope that that works out well, but just keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's important to nurture that network that you were able to build through the SLS Framework Mastermind, whether it be through webinars, through emailing, through, even warm calling. So it's good. And you've been honestly impressive in terms of the efforts you've been putting in, and it shows obviously with the results. So Elliot, I want to thank you for hopping on today's interview.
Sure. Great. Anything to help.
Awesome. Thanks, Elliot.